Hello friends. So in the subject of research methodology, today we will discuss research writing. In research writing, we will discuss the two topics: research proposal or synopsis and research report. First, research proposal or synopsis. The research synopsis is the plan for your research project. It provides the rationale for the research objectives, the proposed methods for data collection and recording formats or questionnaires and interview guides. The synopsis is based on the information provided by the supervisors and by secondary sources of information. The full synopsis should be maximum 3 to 4,000 words, excluding appendices. It includes the following contents. So let's decode one by one from title to appendix. So contents of research proposal or synopsis. First, title. This should be brief. Title should be brief and self-explanatory. It should relate directly to the main objective of the proposed research. A more specific and descriptive subtitle can be added if necessary. For example, to indicate the main methodology that will be applied. The title of the final report can be different from the working title of the synopsis because it is a proposal. Second one is an abstract. The abstract should briefly state the problem, the main objectives, the theories, conceptual framework used if relevant, and the methods. The abstract alone should give the reader a clear idea about the research in no more than 150 words. Third one is an introduction. Here you should introduce the main problem, set it into context, and introduce the particular niche within the main subject area that you will work with. For example, the main subject area could be deforestation, and the introduction would then briefly argue why it is relevant to be concerned with deforestation, to whom it is a problem and why. Here the niche could be the role of a small scale farmers in a deforestation process in mountain areas, because we know that this topic directly involves with the farmers. So justification for the niche or target audience should also be included in the introduction section. Here the word justifying a research problem means providing information documenting that both the main problem and the specific niche means target audience are of relevance to others than yourself, such as the scientific community and stakeholders. Next one is the problem analysis, or you can say literature review. In this section, you present details regarding the research problem. You should present the documentation of the existence of the problem, how it is manifested, who it affects and involves, what roles and interests that involved actors have, the historical background to the problem, including what has led to the actual situation, and the problem's complexity, means what it consists and what it is a part of. So the problem analysis is based on a critical review of scientific literature. The theories typically used to frame research on the subject area, or knowledge available and research method used with what degree of success. The review can aid to the justification of choice of the subject included in the introduction. It is important that the review includes recent literature and that is critically synthesizes, means create knowledge within the subject being addressed rather than merely describing it. Next, number 5 is objectives. This should be identified on the basis of the problem analysis in an earlier stage. That means after reading the problem analysis, it should be immediately clear that the choice of objective is relevant and justified. The objectives should focus on the concepts and problems mentioned in the problem analysis. Each research proposal should contain an overall objective describing the general contribution that the research project makes to the subject area, as well as one or more specific objectives focus on discrete tasks that will be achieved during the research. The overall objective may be something that the study will contribute towards but not solve or finish. The overall objective should not be compilation of these specific objectives. Next, number 6, hypothesis. These are predictions of the outcomes from this study. It is useful at the outset to specify the hypothesis in terms of the assumed relations between variables so as to clarify the position and pre-understanding of the researcher. If statistical tests are to be conducted, formulation of hypothesis is a crucial element of the research design. Hypothesis can be derived from theory, experience, or knowledge concerning contextual factors. In purely quantitative, deductive research, hypotheses are tested statistically, whereas in qualitative, inductive research, hypotheses are not formulated. Next one, methodology and methods. A research project follows an overall methodology to make conclusions in relation to the overall objective. Some types are experiments, surveys, models, and case studies within a given research methodology. Several data collection methods can be relevant, and both quantitative and qualitative methods may be used in the name of study. You should here specify what research methodology is chosen to fulfill the research objectives. A description of the methodology used does not mean a reproduction of standard textbook definition. Instead, references should be used. For example, it is not necessary to explain that a case study approach will allow in-depth analysis of a particular problem, and that the limitation is that the result cannot be statistically generalized, but that they could be theoretically generalized for places with similar characteristics. In this step, a researcher writes the proposed research design, which may lead him or her to the completion of the project. Research design is a way to collect real-life evidence which may support your argument or hypothesis. A research methodology covers following questions. What type of research design is taken up? Who are the respondents in data collection? What is the sample size? Which research instrument will be used in data collection? How data would be analyzed? Next, number 9 is the results. This section represents the analyzed data, preferably in tables and charts. It is a good idea to organize the results logically. For example, by first presenting background information like demographics and then continue with in a sequence reflecting the specific objectives. All tables and figure must be numbered and referred to in the text. Table headings go above the table and figures headings go below the figure. Traditionally, you do not discuss the result in the section. That means you do not explain why a specific number is an outlier or why few people answered a specific question. You leave to the discussion. Number 10, discussion. Here you discuss what the results mean in relation to the objectives. You also discuss the influence of the chosen methods of the results and what methodologies problems may have been faced. Finally, you compare your own results with those of other studies to identify whether your study is in accordance or at odds with previous scientific studies. If the latter is the case, this warrants special consideration. Number 11, conclusion. Conclusion start by clearly stating the main finding of the research. Then go on to outline the implications of the finding. How important is your contribution to the understanding that is currently held on the subject area and niche? What future studies could be recommended? Number 12, references. The purpose of a reference list is that the reader should be able to find the references used. Therefore, be sure to write the full reference in the reference list, including author, publication year, title or of journal series, volume of journal or series, contribution, publisher, omitted for journal, location, page number, etc. For chapters in a book and contribution to conference preceding, the editors and title of the book preceding must be added. You can choose a standard form, for example, a scientific journal, and follow it consistently. All references in the text must be in that list of references and vice versa. Next, number 13, Appendix A, research metrics. A logical visual representation of the research design helps to ensure coherence. Use the research metrics template provided below while developing the design. Submit the final version with the synopsis. Here the research metric template is not provided as it is mentioned here. So we will provide the whole video of this topic in future. Appendix B, data collection instruments. The translation of a good research design into good results requires through preparation of data collection. For measurement and observation, this means preparation of data entry forms, while for surveys and interviews, questionnaires and interview guides are necessary. Include the data collection instruments for each method you plan to apply. So this is all about the research proposal and synopsis. Next, we will discuss about the research report. The research report is considered as a major component of the research study. For the research task remains incomplete till the report has been presented or written. As a matter of fact, even the most brilliant hypothesis, highly well designed and conducted a research study, and the most striking generalization and finding are of little value unless they are effectively communicated to others. The purpose of research is not well served unless the findings are made known to others. Research results must invariably enter the general store of knowledge. All this explains the significance of writing research reports. The usual steps involved in writing reports are logical analysis of the subject matter. So in first of all, So logical analysis is made regarding the subject you have chosen. Second, preparation of the final outline. You have to prepare a final outline of your report, whatever you are going to present. Preparation of the rough draft. So before starting a final report, make a rough draft of the final report. And rewriting and polishing. So first you write a rough report, then just rewrite the rough report again, and then check the whole concept and polishing. And finally, preparation of the final bibliography and writing the final draft. So these are the common steps of how to write a proper report. Layout of the research report. The layout of the report means as to what the research report should contain. A comprehensive layout of the research report should comprise preliminary pages, main text, and end matter. In preliminary pages, the report should carry a title and a date followed by acknowledgements in the form of preface and foreword. Then there should be a table of contents followed by the list of tables and illustrations so that the decision maker or anybody interested in reading the report can easily locate the required information in the report. Second one is a main text. It provides the complete outline of the research report along with all details. Title of the research study is repeated at the top of the first page of the main text and then follows the other details on the page numbered consecutively beginning with the second page. Each main section of the report should begin on a new page. The main text of the report should have the following sections. First, introduction, then statement of finding and recommendation, then results, then implication drawn from the results, and summary. Let's check one by one. Introduction. The purpose of introduction is to introduce the research project to the readers. It should contain a clear statement of the objectives of research. That is, enough background should be given to make clear to the reader why the problem was considered worth investing. A brief summary of other relevant research may also be stated so that the present study can be seen in that context. The hypothesis of study, if any, and the definition of the major concept employed in the study should be explicitly stated in the introduction of the report. The methodology adopted in conducting the study must be fully explained. The statistical analysis adopted must also be clearly stated. In addition to all this, the scope of the study should be stated and the boundary lines be demarcated. The various limitations under which the research project was completed must also be narrated. Second one, statement of finding and recommendations. So after introduction, the research report must contain a statement of finding and recommendation in a non-technical language so that it can be easily understood by all concerned. If the findings happen to be extensive, at this point, they should be put in the summarized form. Next one is the results. A detailed presentation of the findings of the study with supporting data in the form of tables and charts together with a validation of results is the next step in writing the main text of the report. They generally comprises the main body of the report, extending over several chapters. The result section of the report should contain a statistical summaries and reduction of the data rather than the raw data. All the results should be presented in a logical sequence and splitted into readily identifiable sections. All relevant results must be found in a place in the report. Last one is the implication of the results. Towards the end of the main text, the researcher should again put down the results of his research clearly and precisely. It should state the implications that flow from the results to the study. For the general reader is interested in the implications for understanding the human behavior. Such implications may have three aspects as stated below. First, a statement of the inferences drawn from the present study which may be expected to apply in a similar circumstances. The condition of the present study which may limit the extent of legitimate generalizations of the inferences drawn from the study. And the relevant questions that still remain unanswered or new question raised by the study along with suggestions for the kind of research that would provide answers for them. It is considered a good practice to finish the report with a short conclusion which summarizes and recapitulates the main points of the study. The conclusion drawn from the study should be clearly related to the hypotheses that were stated in the introductory section. At the same time, a forecast of the probable future of the subject and an indication of the kind of research which needs to be done in that particular field is useful and desirable. And the last one is a summary. It has become a customary to conclude the research report with a very brief summary, resting in a brief the research problem, the methodology, the major findings, the major conclusions drawn from the research results. So after main text, third and the final one is the end matter. At the end of the report, appendices should be enlisted in respect of all technical data, such as questionnaires, sample information, mathematical derivations, and the like ones. Bibliography of sources consulted should also be given. Index, an alphabetical listing of names, places, and topics, along with the numbers of pages in a book or report or which they are mentioned or discussed. So this index should be invariably be given at the end of the report. And finally, the value of index lies in the fact that it works as a guide to the reader for the contents in the report. So this is all about the layout of the research report. So there are some other common generally accepted layout or format of the report. Simple report, the reports which are made or prepared by the students in the colleges. So there is no one best format for all reports. Format depends on several relevant variables. One must employ a suitable format to create a desirable impression with clarity. Report must be attractive. It should be written systematically and bound carefully. That's all. A report must use the format, often called a structure, that best fit the needs and wants of its readers. Normally, following format is suggested as a basic outline which has sufficient flexibility to meet the most situation that we will see in next slide. But before that, as per the requirements of and the need of the people, the layout of the report change on a regular basis. On final note of this topic and this subject as well, let's figure out some common formats of reports. So we will not go in depth in this topic. So three parts are there. Very first part, formality part. It includes cover page, title page, certificate or statements, index, table of contents, acknowledgement, list of tables and figures, and preface, forwarding, introduction, and summary or executive summary. Second, B, main part, the central part of the report. statement of objectives, methodology, research design, types of data and its sources, sampling decisions, data collection method, tools, fieldwork, analysis and interpretation, including tables, charts, and figures as and when required, finding, limitation, conclusion, recommendation, and any other relevant data. And the final appendix includes copies of forms used in report, tables not included in finding, copy of questionnaire, detail of sampling and rate of response, statement of expenses, bibliography like books, magazine, journals, and other reports, and other relevant information. So that's all uh, about the research report, or we can say the report writing. So by that way, we have concluded this lecture series of this subject, research methodology. Thank you very much for joining. Stay tuned with such informative videos. You can check the other videos in this channel. Thank you very much, and all the best.